We are Chris Lee and Blake Lovell, the Southeastern 14, presented by Stakes, here to preview Arkansas's basketball game with Creighton. That is in Hawaii. That starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Tuesday night. Huge game for both these programs. Blake, Arkansas still without Nick Smith, but Creighton without a big player in its own right, too.
Perhaps. Yeah, we don't know that for sure just yet, but Kalkbrenner, the 7'1" kid, did have an ankle thing yesterday, and I think I saw someone post on Twitter, I think after the game. I think it was the Creighton beat writer, said that he played through a pretty good sprained ankle, was the quote. Um, so I mean, you're having to turn around and play again the day later. Obviously, that's a little bit different than your normal get an injury, play 2 or 3 days later. So I think that'll be interesting to watch here. If he does play, what percentage? Because he's a big part of their defense, and I mean certainly right. With
Yeah.
a guy that's 7'1", um, he just can do things on the defensive side that I think are significant, especially in this game, right? Because I think that certainly Arkansas, I said yesterday, my unofficial stat, I'm pretty sure Arkansas leads the country in dunks now because they had about 50 in that Louisville game. Um, they had a ton. And I think just Arkansas's ability athletically, to get to the rim and do those kind of things, you need a defensive guy, like a Kalkbrenner in there to be able to certainly change what they can do. And so that is a big storyline to watch in this game. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. We don't know if he's going to play or not, but that would be a significant addition, loss, depending on which way it goes there, for Creighton, in Arkansas, just kind of depending on how they go about this matchup. So
All right, let's talk about Arkansas for a minute. 4-0 start, all double-digit wins. Really, Arkansas has not played a good team yet. In fact, nobody even inside the top 125 at Ken Palm as we do this on Tuesday morning. The Mitchell twins both played a lot on Monday. Maybe got a little rest for Trayvon Brazile, who was just on fire over the weekend in their win over South Dakota State, I think it was. I mean, Arkansas's got some depth. Again, I'm guessing Nick Smith is not going to be back for this one if he's not played yet. But anyway, the Razorbacks playing well, but this will be by far the biggest challenge. I know people look at Louisville and know the name, but if you don't know, Louisville's 0-4. So this will be a test that is a significant couple of steps up from what the Razorbacks have played.
yeah, I mean Louisville can't score, and that's what we said going into the game. We said that was going to be the problem for them. Is I just didn't think they could score enough points to beat Arkansas. That was going to be the issue, and Arkansas's ability to force turnovers. They did some of that more late. They ended up forcing 22 in that game. But I think the biggest thing you saw for Arkansas in game one in Maui was undoubtedly Anthony Black. And we said the combination of Anthony Black and Nick Smith was going to be one that was going to be really hard for opposing teams to stop. Well, we haven't seen Nick Smith yet. Like you said, I don't know if he's playing or not. I just, we always assume he's not until we get sort of an official word on that. But I mean, Anthony Black he showcased yesterday what he can be. And I think that's what you want to see heading into a big game like this against Creighton, because that's the difference, Chris, between Creighton and Louisville. Creighton can score, and that is, something that you're going to look at here, and you kind of know what to expect from Greg McDermott's team. I mean, pretty much year in and year out, aside from a couple, here or there, they're usually among the most efficient offensive teams in the country. And I think that will be something here because look, right? I mean, Texas Tech, we always say their defense, but Creighton scored 76 against them yesterday. Had basically it's a 5-man show. I mean, it's basically that. I think is something to watch too in this game, right? Because we talk about these kind of settings, these tournament games. I mean, Creighton was basically you had 5 guys do all the scoring. All 5 of their starters were in double figures, and everybody else, they got 4 points off the bench from Frederick King. That was it in terms of the scoring. So that again goes back to the Kalkbrenner thing. If he doesn't play, that significantly changes, I think, how they, again, not just their defense, but maybe just in terms of the minutes distribution there, because pretty much everybody else is playing under, you know, 10 minutes. And so I think it's kind of something to look at there from a depth standpoint. And that's why I think for Arkansas, kind of the same picture, right? I mean, they're basically playing 7 guys when you talk about the starting 5 plus Mikel Mitchell and Brazil off the bench. So I think, it's kind of you've got short rotations here for a lot of these different teams, but I think with Arkansas, Anthony Black's kind of breakout game that he had is so significant without Nick Smith, especially I think going in a game like this against Creighton, which again is going to be a team I think that will challenge them offensively and especially on the defensive side. If Kalkbrenner's in there and kind of change what they can do on the defensive end of the floor. So
Okay, I got a couple thoughts on what you said. Before that, a quick word from our sponsor, Stakes. Predict sports better than the crowd for a chance to win NFTs. With Stakes, players can submit their sports predictions against friends, other fans, and influencers forever. Don't let your sports genius go overlooked. Join Stakes and have the best predictions captured in the moment. Head to playwithstakes.com/14. Use our invite code Southeastern14 and get a double welcome bonus. Okay, yeah, Black, it was interesting, and I was looking this up as you were talking. I remembered he wasn't a big scorer in high school, averaged 13 and a half a game. He got 26 yesterday. So interesting to see him step up and take a bigger scoring role. Not that he couldn't. As you see now, he can. And the bench, I know that Musselman is kind of tended to go, 7, 8 guys get most of the minutes. Sometimes that's more 7 than 8. But they got guys there waiting. And that comes in handy when you're playing several games in a row. They got Barry Dunning. They got Jalen Graham, who had a much more significant role at Arizona State than he has had at Arkansas so far. So it'll be very interesting to see with a few games in a row if he approaches his bench a little different and we maybe see some guys we haven't seen as much.
yeah, and we'll see. I mean, that's the thing is like always in the tournament settings like this. I think that's where you do see some things that you try to switch around a little bit and kind of knowing that you're going to need a little bit more out of some of these guys just based on the aspect of playing these kind of games back to back, to back. And I think that's kind of what you expect heading into this. And that's why I keep going back to this, but that's why I think for Creighton, a team that has certainly gotten a lot of production out of its starting 5, to take one of those guys out of the mix, or even to remove one of those guys at 100%, which I think is going to be the case. I can't imagine he would be 100% even if he does play. um, that's a big part of this. But I think for Arkansas, it is. I thought in the game against Louisville, and they pointed this out on the broadcast. There are times with Arkansas where I think they settle, for jump shots, but we say that about a lot of teams. But I think for the most part, this is going to be a team that they're not going to be a stellar 3-point shooting team, but I think they will be able to shoot the ball a little bit better than maybe people think. And I still think though their ability just with the guard play specifically, right? The guys on the perimeter, with Black, with Ricky Council, with Davis. Obviously, once they get Nick Smith back, I think that's going to be certainly the driving force for this Arkansas team. And I think that's where to win this game to me, it's really just kind of attack mode. Like you want to be able to just see your guys come out and attack, not settle for those kind of jump shots all the time. And I think that's going to be a big part of this is just trying to attack. Because we said that too coming to the season, didn't we, Chris? About I don't think they necessarily shot a ton of free throws so far, but it's another game where you really haven't had to shoot a lot. And we know we know once you get to SEC play, there will be no shortage of free throws. So yes, that's going to be the case. So I think that's it though in this game. I mean, it's just trying to figure out your offensive approach, which I think is going to just, again, beat it. I'm not saying you're going to get 15 dunks or whatever they got against Louisville, but that is their best. Like they are so athletic, they are so long. Again, you talk about the size. I think that's another one in this game. If you take out a 7'1", Kalkbrenner here, I mean, the size advantage, you're talking about that from Arkansas standpoint. It's a long team. And so I think those are the kind of things you look at in this matchup here heading into it for Arkansas.
Okay, Ken Palm has this Arkansas by 2. Bart Torvik has Creighton by 1. What's your call?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, I think it's who's on the floor is a big part of this because I do think Arkansas will be able to do some things. If there's not a 7'1" presence in there on the other side, just because of the defense and how that could change the game there. So I think if you look at it from that standpoint, I think Arkansas has got a great chance to win this game. I certainly don't expect them to do the exact same things they did against Louisville, because I just think Louisville was a team that just was going to be challenged offensively. Creighton is not challenged offensively. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that can contribute on that team. And I just think with Kaluma, with Alexander, Nimhard's there, Shireman, I just think they've got a lot of different options offensively and what they can do. So I would fully expect this to be a close game that goes down to the wire. I just think these two teams, I don't want to say they're even because but I just think there's a lot of things that, the strengths of both teams. It's like sort of that which one wins out, right? Like it's like you have a team that does this really good defensively. Arkansas can force a lot of turnovers, but Creighton doesn't turn the ball over very much. You got a lot of little statistical things like that. So I can understand why this is pretty much a toss up. But I still think Arkansas can have the edge here, just based on, again, I think I really like the way they play against Louisville. And I think you see a team, even without Nick Smith, that has a lot of confidence right now. And I think as long as they are in attack mode and they can use some of that size, to really try to take advantage of some of those things offensively, don't settle for the jump shots. No, don't settle for threes a lot. I think that's probably the path here for Arkansas to try to pick up a significant victory, because this is a really good Creighton team. A lot of people pick Creighton to go to the Final Four. I think it's just, yeah. So you're talking about two really good teams here, and I think the availability of Kalkbrenner is going to be one that is significant and could change your mind either way on this, I think. So.
Okay, he's Blake Lovell. I'm Chris Lee. We are Southeastern 14 presented by Stakes. We are predicting a ton of hoops games. We're doing wrap-ups. We predicted every single football game for the coming weekend in the SEC. We have a live stream Wednesday nights at 8 where you can ask us questions. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of it, and we'll see you again soon.